I see a district that we want our city to be proud of, and I see people coming to work every day because we love kids.
Okay, well, let's start with your message to parents, teachers, and students about the plans in the future of Fort Worth ISD, especially with all the talk about a possible takeover by the state. What is your message?
So my message has been consistent since we received a letter, but really consistent since I took over as superintendent. We are restructuring our literacy and math framework and actually all core content areas, and we are doubling down on literacy. We will have very explicit and consistent instruction across grade levels from K through 12. That we have non-negotiables that will be in place. Restructuring our instructional planning calendar really allows us to focus on what we call our first teach, Tier 1 instruction, and then be able to monitor our students every day where they're at after their first teach, and then immediately be able to intervene for students who need extra support, but then also the other side of accelerating our students to push them to be able to master all the TEKS in the grade level. And then enhance. We want to make sure we're not always intervening because we have students who are on grade level and they're ready to be pushed beyond. So really my message to our parents is that we're putting very consistent plans in place for every student in every grade level with non-negotiables that our campuses will be held to, and then being more transparent with them around assessing students, sharing the reports, and we're going to actually implement 2 parent-teacher days next year. We did 1 this year, which was new, and I hurried up in implementing that, and already in the calendar we'll have 2 additional days for parent-teacher conferences, in addition to more transparency of where their students at on a daily basis.
For those parents who are scared with all this chatter about a possible takeover, what's been your communication with the folks in Austin, with TEA? Can you calm those fears?
So our fears are, 1, our early results from our 3 through 8, some of the changes that we already put in place this year. That should also help our parents know, regardless of what decisions made by the commissioner, we are already and have put systems in place to improve the academic outcomes of students. When you're talking about the gains that we have already seen in our 3 through 8 for our students in the area of literacy and math, their students, our parents need to know their students are already receiving rigorous, aligned, on grade level instruction, and we saw that in our scores. I speak with TA. I asked if we could meet weekly to share our updates, share what we're doing in Fort Worth. They have been very communicating back and forth with me as well, and giving me suggestions when we're looking at different initiatives, different programs, and we're taking advantage of all the resources that TEA has. Our board meetings and our parent pages also share resources that our parents can access for their students at home. So it really is about a collaboration. But for me, when they see their students achieving at higher levels, they need to know that things are in place for their students.
Let's talk about the STAR scores. What are they? How do you feel about them? And what's ahead?
So for initial, very happy that we saw gains across our areas in reading and math, 3 through 8. When you look at the MEETS level and higher, for the MEETS level that of course we're held accountable to by the state, in our elementary grade levels we had 6 and 7 percentage points in the gains. I mean, that is big for a district, especially a district our size. However, I'm still not happy when any student's not achieving at the MEETS or the master's level. Master's is when our students have actually have mastered that grade level and those TEKS that are tested by the state, and we saw gains across the board in those as well. Our results also show us where we need to pivot and put even extra support. That's in an area of our high schools, our English 1 and our English 2, as well as our algebra, but we knew those going in. That's why we're changing our framework. We're adding a new curriculum for math. And we also knew our middle schools were way below grade level, and we're double blocking our math. When I say double blocking math and literacy, that means instead of 45 minutes a day that currently our middle school students receive, they're going to receive 90 minutes a day in reading and in math next year. All of those changes are already put in place. We already have done the hiring for the teachers, because that's extra teachers as well when you double block schedules like that. So those are exciting changes. We love to see all the increases, but we're not anywhere where we need to be for our students across the district.
Dr. Molinar, what's the time frame? How long will it take to get Fort Worth ISD where it needs to be?
Well, the time frame is every day, every minute counts, and it's really accelerating that. If we can continuously have percentage gains like we have seen this year, then you accelerate that quicker. But 2 to 3 years is a turnaround with any type of a system, and especially a system this large. But that is why we're being very, very bold and aggressive by not putting just one initiative in place. We're also going to be rolling out some extended year learning for identified campuses that we'll announce in July. And then also looking into 26-27 school year already, some different school models that we'll take advantage of that the state offers. Some support around those models with strategic staffing on identified campuses. So this is a systemic change that we're putting in place. We started this year, but next year it's full force across our district with a new instructional planning calendar, as well as the curriculum that we're putting in front of our students.
How is Fort Worth ISD doing financially?
So financially, we did adopt our budget with a deficit model, and we know going into that, we did not receive the funding that, all the funding we thought we would receive from the legislative session. However, we did receive some that we're automatically putting into literacy and math. All of the additional funding goes back onto our campuses. In our board meetings, we have shared that, where exactly it's going. It's also going to compensation for our teachers, which I truly believe that's where the compensation needs to go back into the classroom. So we can not only can recruit the best teachers, but retain our teachers. Across the nation, there's a teacher shortage. So we have to be strategic in also recruiting, but then keeping our teachers here as well. That's really important. So we are looking at a deficit budget, but then we're continuously looking to how we can bring the revenue in. But what's important is we need our students in school every single day. And that also brings revenue, but for me, it brings instruction. When my students are here every day, they're receiving the best instruction. When we're getting outcomes, people will want to come to Fort Worth ISD and bring their students here. It's a big cycle, right? We have to put the best product in front of our students and get those outcomes to have people buy into our district.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about the teacher situation. Are you short teachers? Are you constantly recruiting?
We're constantly recruiting, especially in high needs, like bilingual and special education. Those are areas that we struggle in, just like other districts. We offer additional stipends, as other districts do, so it's staying competitive. But we recruit throughout the school year, but this is definitely our time of recruitment. Now, what we have seen is that where we're at with our vacancies currently is a decrease in what we've seen over the last couple of years.
For you personally, Dr. Molinar, how important is the image of Fort Worth ISD when it comes to businesses and corporations looking at our city to relocate here to?
Well, it's very important. We're the largest public school system in Tarrant-County. And we know the city of Fort Worth is now the 11th largest city in the United States. I mean, that's an honor to live in this city, but for me, it's an honor to be the superintendent over the largest public education system. So it is very important what our image is, because I don't want to just recruit businesses and new families here. I want our city to maintain and grow even faster and provide a workforce to support everything coming into our city. When you're the 11th largest city, we need to continue to grow. And it's my job to give them a workforce. And I want our students to stay here and contribute to Fort Worth. Like, if you know Fort Worth, you love Fort Worth. You love this city. So it's up to Fort Worth ISD to make sure how can we contribute to be part of the city as well.
The last time you and I talked, there was a campus that was going into its 5th year that needed improvement. Mm-hmm. Where are your campuses as far as the number of years that they've received failing grades? Are any more at risk?
So our accountability, we have our early release of our scores. Accountability has not been released yet by the state. We're able to calculate internally where we could be, but there's a lot of growth measures, a lot of data that we still receive from the state. We are seeing right now, just under our results that we've calculated, a decrease in our D and F campuses and an increase in our A campuses. So we're very excited about that. We've seen some of our campuses who have historically have struggled, have made tremendous strides and gains. And we see some campuses that we still need to address. So when I spoke earlier about different school actions and models, those are identified campuses that we'll be taking action on.
Are parents aware of those campuses? Is it something just internally? Is it something you working with externally with your school leaders? And
yeah, there's requirements for notification to parents around the campuses. There's also required plans that have to be board approved that we turn into the state. All of that are required to have community notification and parent input as well. So on our June 24th agenda, you'll see some of those plans that will be brought forward to the board that we are required to submit to the state, and those campuses and the parents and the stakeholders are notified as well. And I'm very public and transparent about our scores, and when our ratings come out, I'll be very transparent with the parents as well as the stakeholders when those are released.
Yeah, and speaking of transparency, taking over as superintendent, did you know what you was getting yourself into?
Yes, I did. You know, I probably luckier than most. I was able to take this role in the district that I've served for 26 years. I've been in many different leadership roles here. There's always things that make you go, huh, okay. But I knew the state we were in, and I wanted to tackle it. And I think what you have seen from October as interim, that I did not waste any time making changes. So when you say, did I know what I was getting into? If I didn't, it would have taken a lot longer for someone to come in and put some of those actions into place. And I didn't wait because I knew what we needed to do immediately for our kids. Like I said, we still have more work to do, a lot more work to do. I'm building a team to do that with me and for our students. And I'm very excited about our new team that's coming on board.
For the last school year, Dr. Molinar, when you look at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of year testing, and you lay those on the table for any of your schools, when you look at that, what do you see?
From last year to this year?
Yeah.
Improvement, changes. Data that shows us where we're still weak in, that we need to address. I see teachers who stepped up, felt the urgency. I see campus leaders do the same. I see a district that we want our city to be proud of. And I see people coming into work every day because we love kids.
Can you say beyond a shadow of a doubt that there will not be a takeover? Or do you expect some oversight at all?
I can't say either way. That is, the decision of the commissioner. And, that's his decision. I respect, his role. And it's my job right now to communicate with him and his team, as well as our entire city, our stakeholders, our business, our mayor as well, to show what we are doing and the bold actions we are taking. So I can't say, but I do know that this team is showing him and everyone else what we can do in Fort Worth ISD.